The Gulf Injustice Podcast, the official podcast of Detained in Dubai with Radha Stirling.
Welcome to the Gulf Injustice Podcast. I'm Radha Stirling, and today we're going to be listening to a very disturbing voice message from British national Albert Douglas, who has been unfairly detained in Dubai for the past 7 months. He's been subjected to beatings by prison guards and was recently admitted to hospital in Dubai to treat a dislocated shoulder. He has several more operations scheduled over the next several months. However, when he was in prison, CID or Dubai authorities approached him and asked him to make a propaganda video, thanking Sheikh Mohammed and the Dubai prison guards for treating him so well. Now, he refused to do this. He refused to make a propaganda video for them. He was in hospital, being treated for wounds and injuries as a result of being beaten, and he did not want to accept to make this propaganda video for them. So Albert Douglas, and he's conveyed that he felt that he had risked his life and his safety in declining the pressure that was bestowed upon him to make this video. And it's very concerning. It brings up issues like Princess Latifah's latest photo shoot around Europe. If this is the standard process to force, encourage, under duress, people to make these kind of videos that are not true, it really does raise a lot of questions about the safety of British nationals, Princess Latifah, and anyone else in custody who the UAE in the future tries to assure us is safe, happy, and treated well. So let's listen to Albert Douglas and his direct testimony regarding Sheikh Mohammed's attempts to get him to make this video.
Good morning. Good morning. I just want to identify myself as Albert Leonard Douglas. My prisoner number is 705150, and my medical number is 117227-781 in the United Arab Emirates of Dubai.
Can I, if I can I ask you to give me some insight of the current health situation that you have found yourself in due to the beatings and the torture, human rights violations committed by the UAE prison authorities?
Well, my beatings relate to some eight months ago. There were several injuries. That perhaps the most striking was where the bone was sticking through my shoulder, and that I had an operation on last week, which was done at the Rashid Hospital in Dubai. But I still have head injuries caused by the same beating, causing severe pain, migraines and dizziness. I also have 2 broken bones in my right hand, and I also have a disc slipped out of my back. These have all been ongoing for 8 months, but they tend to treat one injury at a time. I was beaten 8 months ago, where I had a dislocated shoulder. Basically, there was a bone protruding through the top left shoulder, like a spike coming through. I had an operation last week, and I'm told that I have to go back for a second operation in 3 months' time. So that was one problem. Another problem was I have 2 broken bones in my right hand. I am right-handed. This was also because of the beating. by the police or army or CID, whatever they are, authorities. And also, because of the same beating, I've got a disc sticking out of my back. And lastly, I had head injuries, which cause severe pain, like a terrible migraine comes, and blurred vision. Blurred vision is actually quite dangerous because you can't see and you fall over. It's happened to me numerous occasions. The body, or my body, over the last 8 months has strangely learned to adapt, to my disabilities. Like with my right hand, I've learned to use my left hand, use different fingers on my right hand, adjust things with my legs. It's strange. You do learn. The body adapts, and sleeping was always the most difficult bit, but because you get pain and you wake up, or you roll on your shoulder or on your back, and so I've learned to sleep upright. So the body adapts, but it's I put a brave face on it and so forth, but it's difficult to say the very least. So I'm in constant pain and discomfort. That's where I'm at. With the medication, I also have a heart problem, which is separate. There's nothing to do with the beating. It's a separate thing. I've received no medicine at all for that. Zero. Despite what the authorities say, I haven't received anything. With the hospital, I was released last, I think it was Wednesday. They did give me a bag full of medicine, but when I was brought back to the prison, they didn't bring me back to my cell. They put me in an isolation building, which I didn't even know existed, building number 3 they call it, and that's where you go if you've done something terrible like isolation, away from other people, and if you have any sort of diseases like TB or COVID, that's where apparently they put you. So I was separated from my medicine, or it was taken away from me, and I haven't received any as of yet. I think most of the medicine was actually painkillers for the operation, but I haven't received any. I'm assuming it was sort of anything from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. There's no clock in the hospital ward, but the policeman, or a major, I can't remember, he said he was a major or a captain, but he was in control of the baseball hat and the other way around. He came in and he came with a couple of soldiers, policemen, and they came in actually 3 times during the course of that. They asked me who's going to pay for the operation. Did they expect Dubai police to pay for it? And then they put me on the phone, a mobile phone, to a colonel at headquarters. And this colonel said the same thing: who's going to pay for this? Do you expect us to pay? How are you going to pay? And I was, I don't even know at that time what the cost would be. There was no estimate. They could put any figure. I didn't know, and I didn't have any money. They've taken everything from me. I got nothing. And then the third time they come, there were 6 of them armed. Very, very intimidating. I kid you not, I was terrified because I've been beaten before, so I know what happens here. I talked to the other inmates. It's commonplace, this type of occurrence, and they come in and they basically said, to make a propaganda video for the UAE police prison to say, how wonderful I've been treated.
And was that also to thank Sheikh Mohammed, I understand?
Yes. And, it was just, I was so intimidated by what was going on. But I said, no, I'm just not going to do this, because it's not only not true, it's not correct for all the other people that are in similar situations to myself to do this. I'd be letting down other people as well as letting down myself. So I said no, expecting that I'm going to get repercussions. But the guy left and the soldiers left. They did insist that they take a photograph of me, so they got me up out of my bed. I was chained to the bed, and they sort of said, smile, took a photograph, and that was it. That was the only type of propaganda photo they did end up taking. But I don't know if they'll come back one night while I'm in the prison here. I mean, every night I go to bed thinking, will they come and get me? I don't know. One more small point, which was concerning the British consulate or embassy, were coming to see me the morning, 2 mornings after the incident with the, where they come to do the promotional video, and they were downstairs. They told me, get up, get dressed. They're on their way up. They'll be here in 2 or 3 minutes. And I was going to tell them. I said I was going to tell them what happened to me the night or the 2 nights before, and they stopped them coming up. And I've spoken to the consulate about this yesterday, and they did confirm they went through the correct procedures to get approval for a visit to me. They were in the hospital, ready to come up on floor, and were detained here in Dubai from coming to see me, and they never did come to see me. And I think that has something to do with the propaganda video as well, but I don't know. But I did tell them.
I mean, we've thank goodness for Radha Stirling in Detained in Dubai, who has just worked volumes on the boycott Dubai movement, but also Prisoners Abroad have been working very carefully with talking to the FCO to report this. So I'm glad that you've got to speak to them. I'm assuming that is Miss Dilshad from the British consulate that you're talking to?
I do talk to her. This wasn't her. This was another gentleman who came to see me at the prison because of the promotion video. But he wasn't allowed to see me, so they put you on there is an area where you can see somebody through a glass window, but they didn't allow him in to sort of the glass window, like you see on the TV, really. They made him wait at the gate, and they did a video thing from the gate. So that was, it was only very, very short. They don't give you a lot of time to say whatever you want. And I spoke to him, and I told him, but he was aware that the consulate people were not allowed to come and see me. By even talking to you and highlighting this, it brings so many other risks to me here. But I don't want to agree to any videos or any of this type of thing. But I can assure you one thing: when you're surrounded by 6 armed guards and an officer in Pandora with baseball hat, and they're all big guys, I'm telling you, it's very, very intimidating to say the very, very least. They're always writing letters in the same sign here. It's in Arabic. You've got no idea what you're signing. They just say, yeah, we've written down everything you said. Can I have an English copy? No. How do I know that this is correct? Just sign here. I would like just to emphasise my appreciation for all of the people that have made the effort and to speak up for me and support me, and I take their support for the other inmates as well, not just for me, but for the people that they don't even know. For them as well, both I and they, thank you so much for all the people that are working so diligently on my behalf, because we all appreciate anything at all, the slightest help given to bring the plight to the attention of somebody who can do something about it. So anything, any little thing, the smallest, what you might consider to be the smallest insignificant effort is so greatly appreciated from inside the prison here. So I thank you from the bottom of all our hearts.
I love you, Dad.
The EU Parliament has recently voted to boycott the Dubai Expo coming up. And with Albert Douglas's testimony, we have to wonder why the British Parliament hasn't done the same. Is it possibly because the UAE has recently agreed to invest $10 billion into the British economy? Well, certainly we must prioritise the rights of British citizens, human rights and women's rights abroad over a cash injection from a foreign government notorious for these same abuses. The British courts refuse to extradite people to the UAE based on the real risk of torture, human rights abuses, and unfair trials, unfair detentions without charges, and discrimination. Now, Albert Douglas has been unfairly detained for the past 7 months. What has the British government done about it? With these testimonies coming through, the British government has failed to boycott the UAE's Expo. They have failed to escalate this matter diplomatically. We need to see this grandfather safe and home in the United Kingdom, and then take steps to ensure that this mistreatment of British citizens in prison does not happen again. The inquest into Lee Bradley Brown's death in police custody has been reopened in the United Kingdom. We have witnesses who saw the police brutalising him in Bur Dubai police detention facility, which led to his death. This is not an acceptable way for a country who is an ally of ours to treat our citizens. Now, we implore the British government to take diplomatic steps to resolve and secure the safety of Albert Douglas. Thanks for listening. I'm Radha Stirling, and this is the Gulf Injustice Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Gulf Injustice Podcast.